Ruben Amorim was angry after Everton. Angry at how non-existent United were until Bruno's goal, and so he should be. United showed great character to get a point at Goodison Park, but they were clawing their way out of a hole that they themselves dug in the first half. Let's run through and discuss the problems we saw, plus we'll talk about Dorgu, Bruno, Chido, and more. Manchester United have been a tough watch all season. That game against Everton was a tough watch for 70 minutes. We got a draw out of it, but I tell you what, Ruben Amorim didn't hold back in his post-match press conference, and nor should he have. He went as far as to say United didn't exist in that first half. I'm going to run through the 5 main takeaways from that game. You can let me know what you think in the comments below. Largely, it's built around frustration, but there's something to take forward from that game if the players want to do it. Whether they do or not, we'll find out. But Amorim was angry, and so he should be. As I said, for him to say that, I mean, it's exactly what we all think. United did not exist in that first half. And can I just give you a horrible stat here? It might make you sick. United have failed to score in 20 out of 26 Premier League games this season in the first half. 20 out of 26. United not existing in the first half is nothing new this season. But the fact that we flipped and we switched and we changed, I'm going to speak about that next. That's what we need to build on, whether we do or not. I know. I'm fully expecting United to play the same against Ipswich. That's the big issue. And it's that bit I've highlighted there. Like, we are just in survival mode. And let's not be incredibly surprised by the fact that you bring in a manager halfway through the season who is very rigid in his setup and don't have, well, I gave this squad far more credit than clearly they deserve. It's just, you watch that game and it was only Bruno who was going to pull United out of that hole, and it was, and I'll speak about him next, but we are purely in survival mode. And it's just, for the love of God, can you please, United, play like you don't need a moment like that from Bruno to show that you can play football, because they did after that. And I'm speaking about Bruno next, because just like the sheer quality of Bruno Fernandes as a footballer, it's so obvious. In the first half, Bruno, the game was passing him by, just like it was passing everybody else by. And I'm still so torn and conflicted. I look at Bruno and what he did in that second half, and I saw the difference he made. Of course, it was the goal that changed everything. That was the galvanising moment for a team that, actually, you know what? We're actually professional footballers. Crap, we can actually play football. Go on in. I want Bruno to be as close to the opposition's goal as possible, but I can't deny that he was so impactful from deep. It's almost like Bruno's our best central midfielder and also our best creator, and you can't technically do those two things from the same position. I don't think so anyway. I look at Bruno and if I was to choose, and answer this in the comments, right? Would you want this? And this is a really, I know what I prefer, but I don't know whether it's the right thing. Do you sign a powerful central midfielder and have Bruno playing in the number 10, or do you accept that Bruno's going to be playing slightly deeper, and he looks better there now, and then you sign a number 10 who can create in the same way that Bruno can, but further forward? Which would you choose out of those two? Because I think one of those two signings has to be made. And where you choose to spend your money, well, that's kind of a choice or a preference. Let me know what you think in the comments. Somebody who we have signed and somebody who's made a difference straight away is Patrick Dorgu. And this will come as no surprise. United signed him for a particular set of reasons. He ticked the profiles in and out of possession of what a Ruben Amorim team wants. Well, what he needs. And you know what I saw in that game? Laurie Whitwell with a stat here. He was on the ball a lot. And United were looking for Dorgu. Our bright spark in that first half was down the left. It was Dorgu and Bruno, and it was the link-up play between the two. Only Bruno had more touches than him. And you know full well how often I've been saying that we desperately lack ball carriers. We need them littered across the team, because ball carriers have the ability to drive through a space and bring pressure away from a defence, to take a defensive situation and flip it and turn it into an attacking one simply by carrying the ball 5 to 10 yards. It doesn't have to be 30-yard sprint down the pitch, but just those small movements make a big difference. And when you compare that with what we've got on the right-hand side, we desperately do need to sign a right wing back. And it's the utter contrast between what happens when United go down the left compared to what goes down the right. Every time against Everton, and in a lot of games actually, when we go down the right or wherever Dalot's playing, his natural instinct is to sort of face his defence and probably play it backwards. And then it gets recycled around the defence before it goes to the other side. It's what happened in Everton a lot. It was recycled around to Dorgu, who made a difference, and then instead of looking backwards, his body position was naturally going forward to be more attacking. United need to go out and sign someone like Kenda. And the thing is, right, when it comes to Kenda, when it comes to Dorgu, I'm not looking at two players who I think will only ever work in a Ruben Amorim system. If we get rid of Ruben Amorim in the future, we'll be screwed and we'll stop. No. Both of those could easily be adapted into wingers or into, well, maybe less easily into fullbacks. I just see a player in Dorgu who has all the attributes in and out of possession that I want to see. Proactive going forward and attack-minded for wing-back, but also defensively has that athleticism, can cover the ground, and can't really be pushed off the ball and will win his duels. And I look at Kenda and I think the same thing. And I look at Dalot and I see a player who's limited, unfortunately, by his own ability. We need a right wing back. It is one of the most important signings that we can make this summer. But I tell you what, looking at all the problems we've got, the biggest one, of course, we've got is we're not scoring goals. And Chido, right? I'm looking at Chido Obi Martin. I'm thinking, Chido Obi, sorry. Remember that he's dropped Martin from the name. Well, he's asked for Martin to be dropped from the name. I'm looking at him thinking, I would not mind seeing Chido start against Ipswich, because that was another game there. Look, Højlund has had an invisible season. Amorim, they're talking about how this team didn't exist in that first half. Højlund's not existed all season, apart from in the Europa League early parts of the group stages. I don't look at Xerxes and think, I'll play Xerxes. Sod that. Xerxes is not a striker, and he never will be. Xerxes is one of the number 10s. You either keep him there and you build him into a specialist in that position, or you say no and move him on in the summer. I think you keep him and just play him in those roles. Therefore, we've only got one striker in the team, and that's Højlund right now, senior striker. I think, I don't know whether it will happen or not, but the fact that he got 3 minutes against Spurs and now 20 minutes against Everton is good. The fact that Højlund's not getting much service, I know. But Højlund is just invisible in this team, man. And we're going to have to find something. If Ruben Amorim, to go back here, talking about surviving, to survive, we need goals. For goals, we need goal scorers. And in Chido, we have somebody who can bring something different, and that is what we need up front. Unfortunately for Højlund, the lack of confidence has just consumed him. Now, you can let me know what you think in the comments below. Largely a frustrating game. Great that we showed the character to come back from 2-0 down. But as Ruben says, why didn't you exist in the first half? Everything we worked on in training, that was not it. Until Bruno scored. How is it that he gets the players to play like that from the first half? That's a $1 million question.